Well, you're going to say hello to everybody? You're going to wait for tomorrow to happen.
On the screen. Morning, everybody. Welcome to ACES53 with Ed Parco and myself. Today is a Thursday, so what we're going to have is a special joker or a special guest who brings on a certain type of information or knowledge they're going to share with it. So this week's guest is none other than Robin Alex. So
from high level, go high level.
Yeah.
So, we had you on before, but we're trying to build a slide them over. There you go.
Yeah.
We're trying to build our email list, and we thought you'd be good to come back on to help tell people how to do it and the best way to do it.
Right. Yeah.
So
not trying to put you on the spot, but that's kind of what we're trying to do.
To give them a little more context, what we talked about on Tuesday is like, how do people start building a list? What are you going to give away in exchange for value that somebody has to see it? So is it a PDF? Is it a free video course? Something? How do you start? And then what we'd like for you to kind of talk about today is what do you do once you're starting to get the information in? So we had on last week, Joel Burr, who uses Go High Level, and he's with First Direct Marketing. And he was kind of talking about how they do geofencing, geolocating, then they send out both digital marketing and physical postcards and things of that nature. So it's really, once you start getting people on your list, what's the best use of a CRM like Go High Level? And then how do you start creating mailing campaigns or outbound campaigns?
Yeah.
You want to take one at a time, or do you want to do them all at one time?
I mean, I'll just start spitballing. You guys tell me where I need to go from there.
you learn from.
So I'll tell you, there's some interesting musings that I've seen over the past couple of years. It's people always come to me saying, well, I don't have a list or anything like that. And yet they've been in business for 20 years.
Right.
And so it's always surprising when I hear that. But at the same time, they're using sophisticated billing software that has people's email addresses in there and phone numbers and addresses. They, have a POS system. They've been using Square or something like that, Clover, all the big platforms there.
Right.
They communicate with their customers all the time through email. And I think what they just don't realize is that you do have it. And it is readily available. So, just as simple as extracting from those is usually a good start. And I actually saw someone as of recently. So if you want to get ahead of the curve, kind of the new marketing thing is, can you own a newsletter? And, newsletters are coming back and they're starting to get pretty popular. Very niche, like you try to create a niche specific one. And I was talking to a friend of mine and he was telling me, all I did was just get on Facebook saying, hey, everyone, I am creating a newsletter with my weekly musings on XYZ industry. If you'd like to get the latest updates, send me your email address. And he had at first he was getting comments of people like, oh yeah, here's my email. And he's like, oh, this is too hard. So then he redid the post and just created a link with a form on it. Let me get your first name, your last name, your email address, and your phone number. And he told me he got like 250 contacts in like the first 10 minutes of doing that post.
Wow.
Okay. And so, being able to create it, I don't think you have to go too hard as far as like giving something out. Just even the idea of giving value, people want to lean in and mostly support it. Now, I do think that you need to follow through and make sure that you do deliver some sort of value on the back end of it and not start soliciting them. But I do think, you don't have to worry about that stress level of where do I start? What do I need to do? What do I build it? And then I think, by you receiving that, it gives you opportunity to kind of play in different arenas as far as what you can do with that data. At the end of the day, in my
before you keep going, can we stay on the newsletter thing? Because the one thing is you're going to create it, make sure your newsletter is good, right? And there's so many software now that can help you, or AI. I mean, I use Cast Magic to do certain things, and it creates the newsletter from my video that I've created, right? So I have multiple podcasts I do, so I can then tell it to shorten that newsletter and then take multiple of those and put into one to create the newsletter of what's going on with Ed Parco or whatever you're trying to do. There's just so many ways you can do it and so easy, because I think most people cringe. One more thing, a newsletter? Oh my goodness, what more do I need to do?
Yeah, no, 100%. And kind of my storyline is always, don't try to predict the future or don't try to predict what people want. Just ask. A group of my friends, since college, we have quote unquote a daily newsletter, and it's literally a friend of mine sending his daily funny meme of the day. Right. So if you know your audience and just literally ask, what would you like for me to send you that you're not going to unsubscribe from me? And I'll make sure I deliver that, consistently.
Right.
And in some cases, it is the professional newsletter and you need to have certain topics and it needs to be in certain structure. But if you really know your audience, it could just be like, hey guys, check this out. This news article that just popped up, read it, reply back. Let me know what you think. And I think another piece to that is where people fail with newsletters is trying to get engagement out of it. And so if you can, try to personalize it to where, hey, respond back, you're actually going to build more open rates and things like that. And what it actually does from a technical perspective, it helps you get your newsletters out of the promotional tab into the primary, because Gmail and Outlook and all these providers are like, well, it might be a newsletter, but people are responding, so maybe it's actually legitimate. So we're going to now push it into the primary inbox there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think newsletters is kind of the sneaky new thing that hasn't blown up yet, but I think it's going to be something big in the next year.
So I like what you said. So somebody just went on, said, hey, they created a video, posted it, said, I'm going to be creating a newsletter on XYZ. If you guys are interested, just go here. And then that encouraged people, because people love to watch videos, right? But people don't always open emails. So sending an email to your list saying, hey, I'm going to start a newsletter, they may never open it. But
yeah, and actually, I'll reduce even the friction point on that. He didn't even do a video. He just straight up like, I had a whim of like, I'm bored. Let me just do a Facebook post out there and just see what hits. And he didn't even use the term newsletter. He said, I'm creating an email distribution. If you guys want to get the latest updates on XYZ, let me know. Like, it was just as simple as that.
And then he created a landing page, right, to make it easier for him to go into.
And it wasn't even anything fancy. It was literally just a form. I think he used a Google form, to be honest. Like, it wasn't like it was just as basic as possible. Like, sophistication is not needed mostly when you're starting. You really just need to understand. Yeah, just start at the basic level.
Right.
And then you can evolve it and, professionalize it once you really know what's working and what's not. But what I traditionally see is a lot of people get too fixated on perfection. And so they don't want to continue on, and they don't even want to launch because it's just not perfect yet. And so, how do you know it's perfect? You got to get validation from your customers or potential customers.
That's like Steve Sims, who we know. He's like, just get going, then get good.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what we did here. We're still waiting to get good. We just got going.
We'll just keep bringing people back like this, who drop value. We'll feed off of everyone else like Robin.
I just think people are too, and I meant to say keep it simple, stupid. Whatever you're doing, don't try to make it so big, because if you're dealing with people who are more personal, right, it depends on what group you're going after and how they relate to you. You guys are in your group, you're all friends from college, so you relate totally different than if you're relating with clients. And I think you need to figure out who your market is and who you're trying to get on this email list and who you're trying to get the newsletter to first.
Right.
Yeah, but even with customers and stuff like that, it's just really understanding who they are and what they're expecting from you. Because even from a B2B perspective, right? Sometimes I don't necessarily need, professional information. It's just, can you just give me a heads up on what's going on in the market or whatever? And there's also a style in how you approach it. There's a difference of, if I just send you a link in an email, some people find that okay, as long as I know how we communicate and things like that, versus do I need to put pretty pictures on there and give you, a summary and do like a daily digest style. So it's really just really understanding your audience. And I would also recommend, as you're starting out, try different variations and ask for feedback as quick as possible. And once you figure out what works, then you do the second part. Ask if they know anyone else that would be interested in this and give them the ability to forward it out as well.
So I popped up earlier the capture, nurture, close, and that's right off your website. So what I think is interesting is with high level, which everybody knows affectionately is go high level, right? So I know it's the one name versus. So under capture, you have landing pages, surveys, forms, calendars. You have text messages, inbound phone messages, and all these things. So people think, oh, I have a list, but you mentioned earlier, maybe you should ask for people's phone numbers, because there's other ways. People like getting text messages now. Now, sometimes it's annoying if somebody just beats you to death with it, but people check text messages greater than they do emails, right?
Yeah.
And you got to opt in for the text, don't you?
Yeah. Yes and no. I mean, it could be, how how the contact was opted in can become in many different forms, whether they write it down on a spreadsheet and sign off that they did it. You just need to have some sort of proof that they're okay with it. I will say that there's a change in the market right now. Everybody's been getting hit with the text messages saying, hey, there's the ERC credits, or I can get you a loan, or your car warranty has expired. Basically scammers and telemarketers have been heavily using text messages.
Yes.
And carriers have been trying at a significant level and trying to block it. And what they basically have done as of recently is saying, if you are doing marketing on this number, it will be blocked. You now have to register it with a third party. It's called the campaign registry. And you have to pay money, because what they're basically saying is, yeah, of course you're going to do it because you're a business. So the only reason you need it is to market in some form or fashion. So you do have to go through that process, and they do want to validate it. And the way that you want to think about it is it's like having a credit score. So you're registering your business to get a phone number score that you won't ever know what it is, but carriers are always reviewing it. And if you send out a ton of messages and you get a lot of stops and unsubscribes and things like that, they will immediately start rejecting you from that perspective.
Wow.
Push in jail.
Yeah, exactly.
The text jail.
I see a little one behind you. Here you go.
Yeah.
Sorry, what you doing, Daddy?
That's awesome.
She's speaking over here.
Yeah. You and I were talking earlier. So like my 6-year-old started back to first grade last week. And so it's kind of weird not to have her around until you go pick her up at the end of the day. But it's always a fun part of it all now.
Yeah.
So people have a list. So you mentioned earlier a new tip, which we didn't know, is talk about having a newsletter, because that seems to be one that's a growing trend. What else are you seeing as a good practice or policy for people? So, for example, if they have several posts on their blog a week, is emailing it out once a week good? Are you seeing people go every other week? What other best practices are you seeing there at Go High Level?
Yeah, I mean, just like what we were talking about earlier, is really understanding what's going to resonate with your audience. So looking at open rates, looking at click-through rates is super important, and just asking, hey, is this content valuable to you, and how can you optimize it? That's where you really get a feel on, are you emailing too much, too little, and you can adjust over time. And then also figuring out how to continuously call back to it. So what I've seen quite a bit of people doing is taking their blogs, putting that content in email, and then vice versa, taking the content in their emails, putting it up on blogs. So you're kind of creating this whole 360 effect in driving traffic everywhere.
Right.
But that's been working, by far the best. And like I said, it's just understanding your audience and getting as close as you can with them. On the text messaging side, I would say, what I'm finding to be the most successful is taking off the hat of you're connecting with another business. You need to put it in the perspective of you are communicating with an acquaintance or a friend or a human being on the other side who happens to be representing a business. And so from that perspective, you do not send text messages to your friends with paragraphs and a ton of information as the lead-in. Right. That is what people are trying to stop, and you don't get a lot of engagement on that. But if it's just, hey, this is Robin with High Level, that typically is usually the first leading cold text message out there from a friend perspective. And even that, I wouldn't even put High Level. I'll just say, hey, this is Robin. Is this, so-and-so?
Gotcha.
And try to get engagement that way, right? Like, and then communicate from that perspective. The more humanistic that you can get, the better open rates and the better conversions and the better engagement that you'll have, versus trying to act like you're it's a business on the other side, so you have to be personal. But unfortunately, you're breaking that guard of something that's personal. You're trying to move it into a business realm, which never works.
Sure. We only have a short time with you today, so I want to talk about two things. One is, I'm really impressed. If you go to gohighlevel.com and you click on events, there is daily training on stuff. So there's open sessions. So we met you through Steve Sims, and you talked about like the Facebook group that you have once anybody's in Go High Level. I clicked on it earlier today. I was amazed how many different events you have, but more importantly, what you have coming up here in October, right? 23rd through the 26th is your year 2 of the Level Up Summit, right? And you guys take over the entire Statler Hotel in Dallas, Texas, and you bring in panelists, speakers. I saw Billie Jean, Frank Kern, Perry Belcher. So this is an opportunity of, yes, keep listening for today, but look to come to Dallas and go to that event. I attended with Steve Sims last year, and me even being a novice, there was some amazing content being given out there. And of course, the panelists. So not a lot of people look at somebody that like Frank Kern's level or Billie Jean's level and think I can never reach that. And that's why you guys did a great job also having these panels, which is just finding someone who's a little bit higher than I am to learn from. So it doesn't feel like that massive gap of jumping through things. So are you guys doing it all yourselves again this year?
Yeah. Basically we went in this year with the mindset of do exactly what we did last year, just make it better.
Gotcha.
Right? Like we need to top ourselves. And so that's definitely how the team is thinking about it. And, even with the speaker selection, it was a tough battle. I mean, there's a lot of great talent out there. It's always the battle of, who didn't make it last year. We got to carry them over, make sure that they get attendance. We want to make sure that to that point of all the speakers are really the right speakers for the event and not just a figurehead that's just out in the world.
Right.
99% of the speakers are actually experts of high level, that they use it, at a extreme level. And the reason I say 99% is most of them, if not all of them, use high level on a daily basis. They just might have a team that's running it for them, or they're about to get on it. So we do want to make sure that people understand the community, or at least understand the product, so that when they're there, they can connect the dots to understanding the community. And so that's always another layer in how we look at speakers. And then, it's all about our community. That we are so grateful of our community, and that's why we put the event on in the way that it is. It's not a money grab. It's not, we don't sell anything on site. It's literally just, here's everything because we're just so grateful for you. And so that's why we throw amazing parties. We do worry and stress about the food. I was literally on a 2-hour call this morning of like, what is the best curated dinner that we can provide? How do we make time where speakers can actually be a part of the event with the other attendees? Do they have time to talk, ask questions, and really understand what challenges are they running into their business, and asking for advice, creating those networking events and things like that. So it is something that we spend a lot of time on, but yeah, everything is in-house. We don't outsource it. We want to be as close as we can to our community.
Yeah. I'm just scrolling for some of the people to see. So not only do you have some amazing speakers here, right, that a lot of people have heard of, but then like we're talking about, it's the breakout sessions that a lot of people can learn from as well. And so I remember people trying to figure out what event or breakout session are they going to go to. And I know a lot of the people are the ones, obviously they use Go High Level, but you're bringing people like Karen and her husband live in Costa Rica. So you're just bringing some amazing people. And then to see the different panels, I like how you broke it out by agency, then, software as a service, or SaaS for people who don't know what that is. And then, of course, affiliate panels of how are people creating other people that come in underneath them as affiliates. So it was just a really, really good way that you kind of covered everything. So let me stop screen.
Just click over the.
Yeah.
Oh, Brian, you're at the bottom now.
Yeah.
All right. And so I was speaking with Andrew from QueryFace Media. You know what I'm talking about? He had to have a new product that they're pushing, and it goes in and talks to your messenger people, right? Get them over, and it's a great thing. I was talking to him, and I was asking him about Go High Level. Should you learn it yourself, or should you just hire a team to do it? He's like, you need to learn it yourself, so you know what you want other people to do, and how you need to know how it works, so you understand it. It's the same thing I've been doing with taking over my social media and cutting up all the video, trying to figure out, because I have a background in marketing, and it's like I had somebody else handling my stuff for a year, and they did decent. I mean, I'm not knocking; they did a great job, but I'm figuring out, I know exactly what I want. That's the trigger of each one that gets things to move. And I've been working on that over the last couple of weeks. I'm finally getting one, a mortgage broker in Modesto. I think I'm at 450,000 views on one of my posts the other day on TikTok, which is good for me. I'm nobody, or I'm somebody to someone. Anyway, and I'm just saying that you need to understand from what he said, because he's been with you guys for a long time, and he's like, you really need to know what's going on. And it's the same thing.
I think it's for me, what I recommend is at least understand it from an exposure perspective.
Right.
I think you should build the why, though. And as a business owner, let's say if there was no technology in place, what are you trying to accomplish? And you should be able to write that on paper. It's, hey, when I get a contact, we should be texting them. We should be emailing them. We should be, like you should map out the customer journey on paper, technology agnostic, right? If there is no technology, what are you going to do?
Right.
And then from there, we have the technology stack. You should then be able to take that, the plans that you've built and then basically be able to implement it in. And to me, that's the easiest way to learn the product. Because now you have a why and you have a goal in mind of trying to accomplish it, because it's just like getting a brand new computer. When someone says, yeah, you should learn the computer, what does that even mean?
Right.
Like if you have no end game, you're just, well, I just open up Minesweeper, so I'm just going to play that for the rest of the day because I learned a computer. So I think building out that journey plan goes a long way, and then you can execute against it.
All right. So what's the best? So doing that, what's the best way to learn your software? Is there classes? Is there universities? Is there different things? What is the best way?
Yeah. So
besides doing it and playing with it, right?
Yeah. So, we have a great team. So the second that you sign up, you have the opportunity to get on a Zoom call with our team. And not only will they give you a demo of the software and how it can work, they're really trying to align you and give you some basic consulting and starting to mentally frame your business and how it connects. It's connecting the dots there.
Right.
And if you feel like it's the right product, and a lot of times with business owners, you have to be in the right, well, it's a great product. You have to be in the right frame of mind to be able to execute against it. And if you actually say yes, we actually have a whole implementation team that's on standby as well. And so we offer that to every single customer. And what we've learned is that as long as somebody on our team is available and talks to them, the success rate is like 8 times higher than someone trying to figure it out themselves. And so that's generally where we like people to start, because they walk you through, we talk about the capture, nurture, close. And from that consultative perspective, they're really listening and trying to empathize with what the business owner is doing and trying to figure out, okay, so what you're talking about there, that's really the capture phase. And so what you're doing there, here's how to implement it in the software. So they walk you through that. And then after that, we do, daily Q&As. We have webinar series. We have YouTube channels with training. We also have a university where you can, if you're more the traditional e-learner, we have that capability as well. And one thing that we're about to roll out is, on the traditional side is actually a certification program. So some, people have asked for like, I need quizzes and I need tests and I need to get that paper on the wall to give me that checkbox that I'm really looking for. So we're actually going to roll that out very soon as well.
Is there a cost in the beginning to getting your people to help them through the process and upfront?
No, we absorb that cost. We give it away to anybody and everybody.
Wow. I did not know that, so I need to talk to them.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to do this a while back when we first talked to you. I was going through it, and things in my business got in the way. But now with what I'm doing, I know exactly what I want to do, and I just need to get it done. So
yeah, it's actually a funny thing. So we give it away to everyone for free. The ability to have that handhold white glove setup. But what's funny is perceptionally, the fact that it's free is not good enough.
Right.
I will pay you for that thing.
Yeah.
And so literally in our flow, when you sign up for the trial, and the first page is we offer white glove service. But if you want to pay for it, because mentally you need to check the box off that you're going to pay for it, by all means pay for it. And most of the time we end up refunding it because people realize that you get it for free on the back end.
Right.
But you'd be surprised we probably have about a 40% conversion rate of people taking that upsell.
Wow.
Even though we specifically tell you, you don't need to buy this. We're giving it to you for free. We have a whole team. We have 2 teams, actually. One is to give you a demo and help you understand and connect the dots, because that might be all that you need. And we have a team that's going to roll up their sleeves and do it for you for free.
Right.
And yet, people still pay for it. So it's interesting how the mind works there.
Well, I remember seeing it on there. I think it's $1,000, right? Check.
Yeah, I think that was
it is. I was like, really? Okay, well, maybe later. And I didn't know that. Yeah.
An interesting thing to get that 40% conversion. We started out at free, and it was literally a page saying, "Hey, guess what? We got this free." A little conversion. We bumped it up to $49. Then it was $300, and then we went up to $1,000. And for whatever reason, that has the highest conversion there, because perceived value goes a long way.
Exactly. We're taught if it costs more, it's got to be worth it.
Yeah. You got to charge. People pay attention when they're charged. They don't pay attention when it's free.
But we are big on, we have a ton of value into our product, and we try to be the best, not only from a cost perspective, but in the features that we give. And we're not out there looking for, effectively the money grab.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, we want to make sure that we have the right product and we're delivering right to our community. And so that's really the angle and position that we really want to be at. And so that's why we staffed up a huge team just dedicated to making sure that you get success right out the gate.
Awesome.
Oh, I hear everybody using your software, and I see it all over the place, because once you understand how it looks, I don't care how they change it a little bit, you know whose software it is, and I see it pretty much everywhere now. So
Yeah, I mean, it's no different than a Mac or PC, right? You can look up at a computer and kind of get a feel on kind of computer it is, but it's actually how you use it, which is the fundamental difference. And that's actually how we consider our product as being more of an operating system that's out there.
Well, and we talked on the previous episode, the company's name is actually High Level, but that website was taken, I think. So you guys went with Go High Level, and that's how everybody refers to you guys. So I see hashtag GHL or Go High Level. And it's funny because that just took off and everybody does it. Like Ed was saying, I mean, you can't hop on anything without somebody talking about, oh yeah, well, we've got this new thing. And you're like, what is it? And they're like, Go High Level.
Yeah.
But they don't, they white label it. They
Yeah.
white label it. It's not called that anyway. It's like,
Yeah, the GHL nomenclature is something that we keep going back and forth on internally. Should we just own it, or should we own the original company name?
Right.
So we keep going back and forth on it. Here we are 5 years and still haven't decided.
That's funny. All right. So what else? We have the list. You talked about, you have to really figure out what's your why to understand your customer, how, and then play with things, look at your open rate, to figure out, am I emailing not enough, too much? Where am I in the happy medium? What other tips do you have for people who are, let's just say, starting to middle range? They've got anywhere from 50 subscribers to 500 subscribers.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's making sure that once you have the engagement, now it's making sure that you can find what the value is that you want to give them. So is it offering them a consultation, or selling them a product or a widget or a service there? You want to figure out how to bridge that, and usually that comes into connecting the dots in the newsletter with a call to action, right? So I've given you some information of what's happening in the market of our niche or industry.
Right.
Jump on a call with me for a consultation or an appointment, or buy this product, which is going to bridge that information and give you the outcome that you learned, or that I just taught you about. So you need to figure out what that product and end game that you're looking for. And then coming back to the same game of, you got to test it out. When is the right time that you should be sending that? Is it on Mondays? Is it at 2:00 in the afternoon versus 5:00? What is the copywriting that I'm sending them for them to understand? Because if I'm talking about happy birthday, now buy my product, that doesn't necessarily jive either, right? So, or maybe it does, I don't know. But you know what I mean? Like, you have to, yeah, exactly. So I think it's just kind of constantly being, okay with it not being 100% out the gate. I think that's the fundamental process there.
We laugh every week because we're getting hit up nonstop, both individually, for video editors, right? So the standard thing is find your profile, go and like 4 or 5 of your things, then put in the DM, put in the comments, hey, I sent you a DM because I think I can help. And then of course they go right into the pitch, and it's so ridiculous. It's the same thing over and over again. So to your point, be different from everybody else, right?
Yeah.
If you're doing, I get it, there is some success that you follow those, success leaves clues. But if everybody's doing the same thing, how do you stand out?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing that there's these YouTube videos, and I need to really bookmark one where it's people use like internet, emails and cold marketing and stuff, but it's in person. So you're at a bar. Are you going to walk up to somebody and saying, hi, my name is Robin, I do video editing. I can actually help you save, 20 minutes of your day by editing your videos faster than you can do. I didn't even ask if you even have videos, or what do you do as a profession, or how's your day been?
Right.
And coming back to that point of, is that how you talk to your friends?
Right.
Right. So that it's trying to figure out how to be as humanistic as possible. We live in a world where, while we call it B2B, I think it's more P2P, person to person. And if you really understand the other person, you'll go a lot further in life.
Right. and you kind of have a connection with them originally. Hopefully that's who you're going after. We're not, where the difference is the DMs are all about somebody we have no idea who they are. They don't even know anything about us, or they tell us, hey, I can help you with your business. Well, what's my business? And they can't even tell you. You need, that it's the ones that we're talking about, the list, we're talking about people that probably are already in your email, that you get their emails, and you get their emails because you connected on a podcast, or you did something else, or they're one of your clients. So you're already connecting them to a certain point. That's easier. Growing your list by doing the paid somewhere to have people come on, that's over time, and you can add to that. But I think a lot of people have close to 500 emails from people who they've talked to once or the last few years. I know with my client side, I have a CRM for all my past clients, and we're in the thousands, but I still connect with them, birthdays, anniversaries, their loan anniversary, the other stuff, plus what's going on in the market each week. There's a lot of stuff I do on that, but I'm looking for something totally different than what I do for most clients, and it would be for like my podcast people and stuff like that. So
yeah, I think on that same note, there is a fundamental difference of quantity of your list versus quality of the list.
Right.
People have this thing of like, LinkedIn. It's the bane of my existence these days, because literally I have 25 new requests every day. I wake up, and then immediately when I hit connect, because I think that's what you're supposed to do, you're supposed to connect with as many people as possible, I also get 25 new messages, and they're like these lengthy 6-paragraph messages with a call to action, book a time with them and all this.
Yes.
One, I don't have time to read it. I don't even know what you do, what your service is. Now you're asking me to do more work, right? And so I think people look at LinkedIn as a way where I can immediately get you a list of 30,000 people who are in your market. But I guarantee you that your list of people that you reach out to have done business with, that 500 person list, your conversion rate will be significantly higher because it's a quality list. They know, like, and trust you right out the gate.
Right.
Yeah, quality is better than quantity.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we've talked about people getting started. We've talked about new trends you're starting to see. What do you think people who get started, we already mentioned, get a CRM of some type, even if it's you start with spreadsheets and then you move to go high level, you start sending out emails. What else do you think entrepreneurs or small businesses are still missing that you see that makes the difference between staying where they're at and major leaps ahead?
Coming back to the simplicity side of things, asking for the sale. Being comfortable to ask for the sale. And now, when I say ask for the sale, it's to that point of like, what is the call to action? Is it, hey, can I schedule an appointment with you? Can you test out this product? Can you sign up for a trial? Like, just being comfortable to also ask that. So this is kind of the challenge when we talk about quality of list. When you really have a small list and they're super qualified,
yes,
people are extremely scared to ask for the sale to that list because you're scared that you're going to burn that relationship.
Right.
But on the flip side of it, if you're just going for the scatter shooting approach and you're on LinkedIn getting 3,000 new contacts a day, everyone is just straight to the point. Book a time with me or buy my product. Here's my website. Give me your credit card information. So I think when you have a quality list, mostly when you're starting up, don't be scared to ask for some sort of next step. And, as soon as you can to the sale, because I think that our list that you have is actually qualified, strong to know, like, and trust you and close to your services as well.
And for people who didn't watch our first interview with you, that's how you guys grew high level, right? You said you asked every single person for 3 referrals whenever they bought the service.
Yeah, it was 2 or 3 referrals, and I just knew worst case they would give me 1 contact because I'd guilt you like, well, you got to know somebody. You just can't be this like, how are you starting a business and don't know anybody, right? And I wouldn't let you get off the call until you just connected me with somebody out there. And even that referral was, a leg in the door, and I could at least have a conversation. And it was never me trying to actually sell. It was just like, hey, while I am building the software, I know that you're in the agency space or you are a digital marketer. What are you seeing out in the world? And, just have open dialogue into it. And usually through that dialogue, you figure out the right opening of like, well, let me tell you what I'm doing. And maybe I might have the right product, maybe not. But, if they're talking about, a negative point in their life because, they have a sick pet, well, it's not the right time for me to talk about my software. It's time for me to be empathetic and listen to what they're talking about. Right. So that's kind of that thing of like, you just have to really pay attention to who you're talking to, why you're talking to them, and, you know, being comfortable when the time is right, go for the sale.
Right.
Yeah. Give them something a few times and then ask for the sale.
Yeah.
Right. What do they say? Give, ask, or give, ask.
Yeah.
Like that's the standard.
Jab, jab, right hook.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you do a good enough job, it should be give to where you don't ever have to strongly ask. They're willing to throw money at you, and they almost get mad when you finally ask them for the sale, and they're like, I've been waiting for you the whole time. I thought you were busy and didn't want me to buy from you. That's when you know you're doing a good job.
Well, yeah, go ahead, Ed.
I was going to say, I've had in the past where people are talking, I've done my research. I know what I want. I'm calling you to buy, and you're trying to sell me on it when I'm on the phone call. And I'm like, okay, are you trying to not sell me this product? Or are we just going to get to the point of you're doing this for me and we can move forward? Because you're wasting my time.
Yeah. You know? I'm handing you my money. I don't need the pitch. Yes. The answer is yes. Just take it.
And I ask my clients that, all right, how much do you want them to know? Are we here at this point, or do I need to give you a little bit more? And because a lot of times people are ready to go the moment you talk to them. They don't need any extra information.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on the Alex Hormozi giving everything away for free? Only because you brought that up earlier of when you guys offered the free training, people wanted to pay for it, or else they wouldn't take you up on it. Do you think that will work kind of similar to that?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think that's just more of a humanistic, mindset. The people that are willing to give the most value, you tend to put down your guard. And so that if there's something in the future that you need to buy or listen or take action to, you're more susceptible to it. And I think in everything that I heard about what Alex did, he gave a ton of value, really opened up in everything that he's offering, all his product and services that I think at some point he was selling, or, had a value to it. It was ultimately, it's all for free.
Yes.
And, it's definitely the long play. And, just like anything else, life is a marathon, not a sprint. And so if in the future he wanted to, sell something or want people to take action or something like that, you've built up a loyal community or a loyal circle of friends to basically buy. And in his case, it was hundreds of thousands of people. So I think, yeah. So kind of back to that point of give to where people are just waiting. They're itching to then like, I'm waiting for you to finally tell me when I can just give you some money because you've given me so much.
The polar opposite of what we're talking about with your LinkedIn, where people like, add me. Oh, hey, look, here's my stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do you do that when you go out every day? Is that what you do to your friends? Like, I always think about that every time I see that happen.
And so just and for people who didn't watch the first one, again, what we really like about your agency is the fact that you're here for the small business. You're helping people grow from literally nothing to growing up, right? So you don't go after these big behemoth companies. You're out to help the small entrepreneur grow their business over time. And that's what makes Go High Level so unique. There's some other competitors, we won't mention their names out there, that you had to hire it and you had to fly out a consultant and it cost you just tons of money in the monthly and everything else. And here you can go for small packages, you can go for larger packages. It's very affordable for every type of business. And you've taken so many tools that people used to have to do different, like MailChimp and all these other things, and you put everything into one. So now you've got a scheduling, you've got landing pages, you've got forms, a little bit of everything all into one platform to make it easier for entrepreneurs.
Yeah. One of the things that I put out there is there's a ton of great tools out there that I know that you don't want to mention them, but I'll throw some of the names out there, like, Salesforce, HubSpot, Keep. They're all great in their own regard. And they've been around for such a long time. I think what's happened over time, though, is the people that, you mentioned consultants and things of that nature have built, implemented it for these companies and built on top of it and added on and things like that. Over a span of 10 years, the people that have been maintaining it at that business have cycled through, right? Now you have new people in there and they don't have the sophistication level or the experience of how it was run historically. And so what we're actually finding is people are nowadays, because you have a new generation of talent coming into being the marketing professional or the digital marketer or, just sending the emails out. they can't use that archaic platform. And it's not that the product hasn't been updated or anything like that. It's just the way that it's implemented and used in the business is built on old rationale.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And so now a lot of businesses are being, more open to pressing the reset button and starting over again. And it's starting to play small. Right. And from that angle, we've seen a lot of larger businesses start coming our way as well, but they're coming in even with the mindset of, we're not doing sure we have a lot of revenue coming in and we have a big company, but we're not doing what you would expect us to be doing. So we're ready, and we need, just like that flower shop is really where we are from a digital perspective. So we're starting from the basics again.
It's interesting. I used to be in a corporation that we used Salesforce, and it was good for some things, but like you said, it was clunky. And to adjust something or fix it, they had to hire in the consultants and completely revamp it. And sometimes they pulled data and they couldn't bring data over correctly. It was a nightmare when you had to try and do a major upgrade to it. So
yeah, and when you're in those moments, right? What I've typically seen, because I used to come from that world, in the enterprise space, because it's a thing, right? You have to bring it outside parties and stuff like that.
Yep.
By the time you're 3 or 6 months into that initiative, because that's how long these projects take, you lose the plot. You forget why you even started, because now you're dealing with humans, you're dealing with time off, vacations. People have another idea along the way that you forgot the whole reason of what you're trying to accomplish. And probably that reason that you started this whole initiative, you've solved it another way because you couldn't wait 6 months to a year before it was launched in the product. So you've already moved on anyways.
Yes.
And so it's just so interesting to see how much money is being spent on, good ideas that unfortunately will never become great because the boat has already, moved on.
Yeah.
And I'm bringing it back to video because that's the same issue I was having. I want my content that I did today out today, and you don't have that fast response when you deal with VAs and other people. They're at least 24 hours, sometimes a week or whatever. But if you can do it your own and so much faster with a smaller team, you can get that content out in a few hours. And that's where I'm at. And that's what you guys do with what your software is. It's nimble. It can be done fast. It can be changed. You're not all of a sudden, okay, well, we were doing this 6 months ago, but the market's changed since then. And now we don't need this. We need something totally different. Yours is so much faster. So
yeah, I mean, that's how we function internally. And so just by happenstance, that's how our software actually executes as well, from that nimbleness, being able to make changes, swiftly. And so it just creates this compounding effect, because I think the type of customer that does join into our product learns that and kind of embodies that, and that's what their expectation is now, right? Like, just like yourself, it's, well, now my expectation is 24 hours is too long, so how do I also act to find people who can live at that same timeline?
Sure.
Well, because things change. I mean, I want to get information out that's relevant right now, because tomorrow something new comes out, is something totally different, and so it's not as relevant.
We're an ADD society.
Yep, exactly.
Well, we're just so used to it now. That's the problem. So
yeah, well, it's not even now, it's yesterday.
Yeah, I was going to say, we know you jumped on. You said we were call number 6, 7. So we'll appreciate you coming on today, and we'll pop back up for the summit, the Level Up Summit that's coming October 23rd through the 26th. You guys still have tickets available for that?
We still do have tickets. I think we're about 85% sold, so they are running quick. But yeah, definitely go to summit.gohighlevel.com or gohighlevel.com level up. Sorry, it's hard to keep up with all the URLs. But definitely, check out the page if you're interested. Sign up for a ticket. Love to have you in Dallas. It is an event that we do want you to walk away and bookmark in your mind to always remember. So we're gonna make sure you're gonna have a good time there.
And Ed and I will say, we remember when Go High Level was still small, but eventually you guys would be like Dreamforce, would just take over all of Dallas. Like Salesforce used to take over San Fran. So
no, 100%. I used to open world and stuff like that in the Oracle days. We've kind of made a conscious decision of how do we continue to keep this as effectively small and proportional to our customer base. Last year, I mean, right now, it's interesting. We serve about 50,000 agencies, which represent about 600,000 businesses, but we decided just to have about, anywhere from 700 to 800 people at this event.
Right.
I think once you start getting to the thousands of people, it turns too corporate-y, and the level of expectations change in a wrong dynamics that It's just not me. It's not my team. It's not my partners. And so when that day happens, I don't think it's going to be the same company. So we're trying to keep it as intimate and, as strong with the community as possible.
So for people who do come down, the cool thing about the hotel is it was during like the 50s. It was the hotel in Dallas. All the celebrities came and everything. And then that hotel shut down for a couple decades. And over the last 5 to 10 years, they completely remodeled it. Badass hotel. It's got a speakeasy in it. It's got a rooftop pool bar that's pretty popular on nights and weekends. It's just a really cool location for it to be at.
Yeah. Yeah. And we reserve the whole thing. So it is literally the high level venue. I mean, everywhere that you go, we have our branding. We have a whole block for the whole hotel. So everywhere that you look around, it's someone who knows high level.
Right. Stickers on the ground. I'll come over there and take some pictures and we'll put them back up.
Yeah.
Awesome. Ed, anything you got before we Robin?
No,
go?
I'm good. I'm good. I'll let you take us out.
Awesome. Well, hey,
Robin, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah. So everybody follow Robin and Alex. Go to highlevel.com. Go highlevel.com. And like mentioned earlier, they've got every day they've got events where you can go jump on, plenty of YouTube videos, training. And now you heard it, you get free training that you can pay for if you want, then you'll get the money back later on. So if you have that hurdle, go for it. But thank you for being on with us on ACES53. We're here every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific, noon Central, and follow us here and on our YouTube channel. Everybody have a great day.
Thanks for being here. Thank you.
Everyone.
Bye, everybody.